Hello class. In this video, we're going to be working with grouping symbols. But before we start this lesson, I want you to write in your notebook a new heading with your full name first and last, the date, mathematics, and your period number, and our assignment name, grouping symbols. So pause this video and put this in your notebooks now. Now, grouping symbols is very, very important, and it helps us solve numerical or even algebraic expressions. Because when we look at parentheses, our first step in the order of operations, it goes about telling us in what order to solve things. And if we have to solve something that has, like, say, 3 or 4 steps in a specific order before we can actually get our answers, it'll be confusing if we just use parentheses. So there's actually 3 grouping symbols that we use. Okay, so the first one is parentheses. This is the ones that we solve first within our grouping symbols you're used to seeing. But we also have what we call brackets. They're shaped like this, like a square missing the center. Okay, and then we use braces. And braces have the little squiggly lines. I don't write them perfectly, so you will laugh at me in the video for that, but that's okay. As long as we understand that we solve parentheses first, then brackets, then braces. And you can look by seeing what closes first and goes inside. So we do this center part of the grouping symbols and then work our way outwards. Building a numerical expression can be a little difficult, but we have to take step by step. So pause this video now and write these grouping symbols in this order with the symbol and the word attached to it in our notebooks. And then we're going to take a word problem and we're going to create a numerical expression with it and then solve it. And then we're going to take a regular numerical expression already given to us and solving that by using these grouping symbols. So pause this video now and write this in our notebooks. All right, now that we have this down, let's look at that first problem I was talking about. So here it says Juan gets $6 for his weekly allowance and spends $4 of it, while his sister Tina gets $7 for her weekly allowance, but she spends $3 of it. Her mother's birthday is in 4 weeks. If they spend the same amount each week, how much money can they save together in that time to buy a present? So we need to look at what's the important parts here. So I look here in the first one and I say, well, Juan, he gets $6, but then he spends $4. And his sister Tina gets $7 and she spends $3. So that's the money in and out. But it's also important is that we need to know that her birthday's in 4 weeks. So whatever it is that they had to save every week, I have 4 weeks to calculate for it. So the first thing I'm going to look at, well, I'm going to see how much does Juan get a week. And I'm going to add that to what his sister Tina can say, right? And after I do all of this, I'm then going to times it by the number of weeks. So I'm timesing by the number of weeks they have to save. Because I look at this and I go, well, Juan gets $6, but he spends $4. And I know I have to figure out how much Juan could save a week. I need to put that in parentheses, right? So for Juan, he gets 6, but he spends 4. So that's together. And then I look at the same thing for Tina. Tina gets $7, but she spends 3. So to figure out how much she saves, I have to do 7 minus 3. And notice I put that in parentheses. Because I need to know what each can save each week, I have to do those together. But then before I know how much to calculate each week, I need to know the total savings. So for that, I got to solve this section first before I could do anything else. but I already used my parentheses. So when I go back here, the next one would be brackets. So I'm actually going to put this in brackets, right? Because that's got to be solved before I could solve the times of the week. And then I have 4 weeks. So this savings, I have to multiply that by 4, right? So I need to solve the parentheses, the insides first. Then I solve the brackets, and then I would do braces. But I don't need braces here because that's all the information that I have. So I look at this now, my next step. According to my order of operations, I need to solve what's in parentheses first. So my bracket stays the same. And my parentheses here goes 6 minus 4. That gives me 2. I keep the plus. This is in a separate parentheses, so that's why I could do it the same line. If it was together, I wouldn't be able to. So 7 minus 3 gave me 4. And notice once I solve it, I drop the parentheses. Then I add my brackets and I copy the rest of the expression down. Now that I have that, I go to my outer. I'm not done with the order of operations of parentheses because brackets are still counted as parentheses. So now I need to add this part. 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. Now I could drop the brackets because I solved everything that's in them and just multiply it by 4. Copy everything down. So now I could do 6 times 4. 6 times 4 gives me 24. Right? But don't forget, we're talking about money and we always have to label, right? So I could put $24 or I could just do my money symbol and then I circle it. This is a word problem and word problems require sentences. So on the side, I may turn around and say, they have $24 to buy the present. So I write it in a sentence, they have $24 to buy the present. Normally I wouldn't write this on the side, I would write it underneath. But for you to be able to see everything on my screen, I have to write it on the side. And I'm circling that because, hey, that's my final answer. And I don't want anybody to get confused. What is my work and what is my final answer? So I want you to pause this video now. I want you to copy the word problem, all of our work, and our answer of our question in our notebooks. So remember, I grouped these two together because I needed to know how much Juan could save. I grouped these two together because I needed to know how much Tina could save per week. And then I put our brackets around it because I needed to know how much each week was. Otherwise, I would have had to multiply each one individually to 4 with 4 and then add. So I would have had 4 times 2 gave me 8, 4 times 4 gave me 16, 8 plus 16 gives me the 24. So that's why I have it there. Now let's try one more problem. Now this looks like a crazy problem, doesn't it? Because I got parentheses, I got brackets, I got braces. So no matter which way that I look at it, I'm going to still have to be able to solve this. So our order of operations says do parentheses first. So I have these 2 parentheses, right? And then I have this parentheses and this parentheses. I could solve these in the same string by copying everything in between and just dropping the parentheses when I solve these 2 parts of parentheses because they're not connected. So I'm going to do that now. So all I did here was I solved 5 minus 2 gave me 3, so that's how I got this 3. 2 plus 4 gave me 6, so that's how I got this 6 here. I dropped the parentheses, but I still have my brackets and my braces to solve. So my next step is I'm going to have to solve everything that's in my brackets. So I have the 3 times 3 and the 2 times 2 that I have to solve. Again, I can do them on the same string only because they are separate and they're not inside each other. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I solve what's inside my brackets. My 3 times 3 is 9. Because I solved it, I'm able to drop the brackets. But I keep my braces because I didn't finish with that. Over here, I have 6 times 2, which is 12. So I was able to drop the brackets because I solved everything in that one. So now I'm looking at 4 times the 9 plus 12. that's inside my braces. I now need to solve this first. So the 9 plus 12 gives me 21. And then I copy everything else. I now can drop the braces because I solved everything that's inside of it. And 4 times 21, 4 times 1 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4 per my identity property multiplication. And 4 times 20 is 80. 80 plus 1 gives me 84, sorry. And I'm going to circle this. Now I have no label for it and there's no word problem, so I don't need a sentence. I can just circle my answer at the end. So remember, we solve the parentheses first, the inside, all right? And then we do the brackets and then the braces. I want you to pause this video now and write everything in the notebook, including the question, all of our work, and our answer. Now that we have 2, we got to remember we solve what's in parentheses first, then what's in brackets, then what's in braces. And as we solve what's in them, we can then drop that symbol. As we did here with the 6 minus 4 and 7 minus 3, I dropped it. And then when I did the 2 plus 4, I dropped the brackets. Same thing that we did here, step by step. So even when something looks scary, just remember you solved parentheses first, then brackets, then braces. And you keep copying everything else that you don't change within each line so you don't forget about it. Because small 3 terms plus 2 operations, that's not that complex. But if you get something like this, this is way complex and it's very easy to forget to do something. So please make sure that you copy everything down. Now it's your turn. Here are 2 on your own that I want you to do. Show all of your work, copy everything down. Remember, go step by step. So here you got to solve the parentheses first, then the brackets, and then you can multiply. In the second one, you have to solve these 2 parentheses first, then this set of brackets, and then the braces before you can add to the 6. Follow your order of operations and follow the steps with our parentheses, brackets, and braces. If you need to watch this video again, you may do so as many times as you need to. And don't forget, show all of your work. And if you get confused, write out where you are confused so that I can be able to help you.